Well, good evening once again. Day 1253 of the Trump administration, 131 days to go until the presidential election. Today, Donald Trump was politicking in the state of Wisconsin as the director of the CDC reported that the number of Americans who have been infected with coronavirus is likely 10 times higher than reported. That would put the number well north of 20 million Americans. Over 123,000 people have lost their lives thus far. Tonight, Trump was asked about the impact of the pandemic during a town hall on Fox News, and he once again made the erroneous connection between the rate of testing and the surge in cases.
We have more cases because we do the greatest testing. If we didn't do testing, we'd have no cases. When you do 30 million, you're going to have a kid with the sniffles, and they'll say it's coronavirus, whatever you want to call it. If we didn't do tests, we'd look great. But you know what? It's not the right thing to do.
Treatment, vaccine, where are we?
We're going to have an answer very soon indeed. I think it will be even before the end of the year, we'll have a vaccine.
This virus, of course, is not done with us, and as many health experts and even some officials now note, the numbers in the majority of the states are going in the wrong direction. Right now, over half the states are seeing an increase in new cases. In fact, they've been trending upwards of 30,000 a day for the past week. Yesterday surged north of 40,000. Tonight, we're learning that the White House Coronavirus Task Force will hold a briefing tomorrow. It's rare. It's a first in 2 months. Last one was on April 27th. NBC News reports the task force has been quietly tracking the rise in cases, even as Trump has been insisting the virus, quote, will go away and will fade away. Indeed, earlier today, 2 senior administration officials tried to minimize the threat of the latest outbreak.
We're working aggressively with states and local leaders in this situation, but it's important for the American people to know this is a localized situation.
We're going to have hotspots. No question. We just have to live with that. But the economy is not going to be closed down again.
Meanwhile, NBC News has learned all Trump 2020 staffers who are in Tulsa for last Saturday's rally are currently working remotely and will be tested for coronavirus before returning to Virginia headquarters. A senior campaign official says they're also doing contact tracing. As the nation records more daily infections than ever before, the epicenter of the resurgence right now is in the states of California, Florida, Texas, and Arizona. And let's not forget 4 states containing well over a quarter of our total population as a country. The Houston Chronicle says Texas reported nearly 6,000 new COVID-19 cases Wednesday. That's the state's highest single-day increase. Texas Governor Greg Abbott has paused the state's reopening plans. As of today, he's ordered hospitals in 4 counties to suspend elective surgeries for starters to preserve hospital space for coronavirus patients. Those counties include the state's largest cities, Houston, Dallas, Austin, San Antonio. Hospital admissions have been steadily rising, and the Texas Medical Center in Houston reports its ICUs are now full. Healthcare workers in the state say they're concerned about how they'll handle more patients.
Right now, we're finding that, the situation is that we don't have any hospital beds available in the Houston area.
We're trying to prepare for this surge, and we're trying to find ways to be proactive because we want to have enough beds for our patients that need our help.
Uptick in kind of clusters of patients that were out at bars and clubs over the past 2 or 3 weeks. Have been coming in droves, testing positive, unfortunately.
I am very worried about the upcoming July 4th holiday. One thing that I'd like to see is more masks available everywhere. I haven't seen any public displays of free masks. And at this point in the pandemic, that's something that we should be producing and making available to everyone.
So those are folks in the healthcare industry. Arizona today reported 3,056 additional cases of the coronavirus, 4th day in a week in which the state had daily increases of over 3,000. Arizona now has the highest rate of illness on a per capita basis of all the states. 85% of regular hospital beds, 88% of ICU beds are in use for COVID-19 and other patients. Well, today, the governor of Arizona said he expects things to get worse and decided to put a hold on reopening.
The rate of the spread of this virus is unacceptable because there is no consideration of increasing activity Arizona is on pause.
After the heated debate over wearing masks has developed and now shows no signs of going away, despite research backing up prevention, 2 cities, Charleston, South Carolina, and Miami, Florida, now requiring face coverings in public areas to help slow the spread of COVID-19. Just today, we learned the virus has cost another 1.5 million American jobs. This is the 14th straight week that over 1 million people have filed for unemployment. The news comes as a New York Times Siena poll of 6 battleground states shows Joe Biden ahead of Donald Trump in all of them. Fox News poll of Florida shows Biden in the lead there. Former vice president was in Lancaster, PA today, where he criticized Trump's response to the pandemic.
He thinks that finding out that more Americans are sick will make him look bad. That's what he's worried about. He's worried about looking bad. Well, Donald Trump needs to stop caring about how he looks and start caring about what America's happening to the rest of America. Well, this pandemic didn't happen to him. It happened to all of us. And his job isn't to whine about it. His job is to do something about it, to lead.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.